Thank you for joining us today for another exclusive interview sponsored by Emovet. Help your horses reach their maximum potential with Emovet's line of natural homeopathic products. I'm your host today, Aurélien Drumian. Today, we are delighted to be joined by Michael Hambly, the third-generation owner of Kensington Produce, a family-owned business serving the equine industry since 1955. Kensington Produce has become a cornerstone in Sydney's horse racing community, providing top-quality horse feed and supplies to leading trainers and racecourses. We'll discuss the challenges and triumphs of maintaining a legacy business, the importance of staying ahead in nutritional research, and the future innovations that excites this long-standing company. Stay tuned for an insightful conversation with Michael Hambly. Well, first of all, great to have you here, Michael.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. So as the third generation owner, as I mentioned, what do you believe are the key factors that have allowed, Kensington Produce to thrive for almost 70 years in that horse feed industry?
Quality feed and service.
Wow, excellent. What have been some of the biggest challenge for you, in maintaining and I guess further developing this successful horse feed company? And how do you overcome these challenges?
The biggest challenges, look, we work in a business that is governed by the weather. So whether, there's been a wet season, and it's not a very friendly haymaking season. There's challenges sourcing product. Sometimes we've had to, I was actually talking about this recently to another person, that we've had to bring across oaten hay from the other side of the country, from Western Australia. So it's more about just staying on top of the quality, and that means actually getting out there and seeing what's available, having things tested, and just being able to put your hand on your heart and say, I believe that we've got the best feed available for our customers.
Excellent. What do you consider to be Kensington Produce greatest triumphs, or maybe achievements in those past 70 years?
Greatest achievements from Kensington Produce. Well, maintaining our customers. That would be the greatest achievements. Sure, our customers are loyal, and that might have something to do with it, but maintaining customers in any business has its challenges, whether it's price or servicing them. And I think that's what we do really well. And I think the generation that's come before has built that culture where nothing's out of the realms of possibility when it comes to servicing our customers, whether that's taking a phone call on Sunday, and, oh mate, look, I'm out of feed, sorry to do this to you, but can you, yeah mate, we'll do it. It's not something that we want to do. We've got families and life outside of work as well, but if we need to, we will bend over backwards for our customers to make things happy. And I think they realize that, and they can sleep easy at night knowing that they've got someone looking after their best interests.
For sure. I think customers, like you mentioned, they are very important in any kind of businesses, and maintaining, I guess those achievements in your case. I think quality, like you mentioned as well, is probably the best thing you can have, for sure.
Yeah, and that's no fluke either. Quality comes from knowing your product, and being able to source quality comes from the network of people that you've met over the course of years. Like next year, we've been trading for 70 years. So there's not too many businesses out there, I think, that could say that they've been trading for that long. And you don't trade for 70 years doing the wrong thing by people either.
That's for sure. How do you stay ahead of the curve, in terms of nutritional research and, I guess, product development?
Good question. I've got a bit of a entrepreneurial brain, and it's not a good thing because it unfortunately it keeps me up at night, and 24/7 basically,
Oh my God.
thinking about how we can do things better.
Of course, always improving.
You know, and that's, look, to be honest with you, that has its downfalls too. Like sometimes I wish it wasn't like that, but that's how I'm built. And you know, I suppose that's how I've helped this company sort of progress to another level. In terms of your nutritional side of things, I think it's best for me to stay out of that side of things. It's not my forte. I just like to leave it to the professionals. And by the professionals, I mean, I like to work with who I consider the best in their field, who is a dedicated equine nutritionist, who has spent her life, in a similar way to, researching papers and a lot of hands-on experience with, Sydney's and some of Australia's leading operations. So yeah, I don't like to blur the lines there.
Fair
I
enough.
think a good business is about surrounding yourself with people that are smarter than you, and especially when it comes to animal nutritionists. Like the amount of times I see horse feed companies out there with sales reps trying to give nutritional advice is, it's laughable. I mean, you didn't go to university, you don't have a degree. Just stay out of it.
For sure, for sure. So I guess well, I think in this industry specifically, having a great team is also very important. And as you mentioned, especially in that research.
Yeah, it's one of the most important things
Sure,
because it's the nutritional side of things, but
exactly.
there's also the operational side of things,
For sure.
When everyone's playing their role, things run smoothly. So yeah,
Perfect.
the team is one of the biggest factors of being a successful business.
Mhm. You talked about customers. I'd like to talk more about, the feedbacks you might get from them. So, what does customer feedback, play in your, I guess, product development, maybe business strategy?
Well, we like to sit down occasionally as a team and talk about problems that we've faced,
Sure.
what we've done to rectify them, and then what we can do better. So, like any business, whether you're in building or horse feed or anything, I think you just got to sit down. You got to take feedback on board, and you just got to continually improve. And then you've also got to just look outside the square, look outside the box, and ask the questions. Why are we doing it this way? Why don't we do it this way? There's been a lot of mistakes and a lot of learning curve for myself, but I think we've pushed the boundaries significantly when it comes to the manufacturing and delivering of horse feed. Yeah.
I guess it's also a way to improve. I mean, getting feedbacks from people. How do they reach you mostly, like giving you feedbacks? Do they call you or how would they?
From 4 a.m. to 8 p.m., 7 days a week.
Fair enough. Keeps you awake. That's good.
Mate, if I'm awake, you can call me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Let's talk a little bit more about technology, since it's a bit everywhere these days. So how has his impacted, the horse feed industry, and how has Kensington Produce embraced, I guess, technological advancement?
Yeah, okay. So there's probably two parts to it. I'll break it down in is there's the one part in how we source products, whether
Okay.
it be hay or grain, which obviously is the key ingredient to making our horse feed. And that's with the constant testing of products to make sure that not only we're making sure that we're buying the best, but we can also benchmark our purchases from one year to the other. You know what I mean? So that involves obviously sending samples away to, like, again, we consider them a part of our extended team to the laboratories, and they're the guys that do the work. They're the guys that use the NIR machines or the wet chemistry. Like we could bring all that stuff kind of in-house, but these guys specialize in that. So why not use someone who is a leader in their field? And that's what we try and do. Second part of your question, how's technology affected sort of us and maybe the rest of the horse feed industry? I don't think there's been a lot of advancement in horse feed manufacturing that really benefits the end user. Like you've had steam flaking that's been around for a long time. You've had micronizing, you've had extruding that's been around for a long time. A lot of those processes, in my opinion, benefit the manufacturer in terms of when you're processing a lot of these things, you have to temper a lot of grain, which means you're adding moisture to the grain. And then after the process, you get far less wastage. So
Wow,
it's a thing that aren't spoken about by manufacturers, and I know this because we are a manufacturer. We have changed the way horse feed has been made and delivered. We've changed sort of the game, so to speak, going forward. So back, only a few years ago, there was two ways to buy horse feed. It was either, your pre-mixed feed, or you went down the raw diet where you sort of bought your own oats, corn, barley, sunny, lupins, chaff, and you sort of mixed it all yourself. Even with the prepackaged feed, you still had to add your supplements and your chaffs and whatnot. And it's very labor intensive. And you also have to have someone in there with experience. And those people are getting harder and harder to find, especially in this job market. Then you're having to deal with, how old the feed is, the environment that the feed's been delivered to in terms of rodents and whatnot, how it's transported, whether it's weather. So what we've done is we've designed a system that can, I suppose, manufacture horse feed down to the gram in terms of recipe and delivered in these sort of swap and go bins. So yeah, gone are the days where you deliver feed and it's sort of emptied into bins, and then emptied back out into feed buckets or whatnot. It's we're delivering basically the feed bin to you. So that's how we've changed things. I won't go into all the details.
No worries. I'd like to talk a bit more now about sustainability. So what kind of practices has, Kensington Produce implemented in this aspect? And how do these impact your products or also operations, I guess?
Okay, good question. Sustainability. So from the get-go, when we put the first mill in, that was a grain cleaning plant with a small mixer that we built because we thought maybe one day we might start making horse feed or something. I always had recyclable bags. Always had bags made of wood pulp with a cotton mesh through them. So I've never had a plastic bag in this place. When we built the new mill actually isn't set up to make any bags. It's designed to make a mix, whether that mix be 360 kilos or 490 kilos, depending on what's in it. And it goes into a plastic tub. That plastic tub is then put into rotation. And it's, like I said, it's a swap and go system. So that plastic tub, provided it doesn't get absolutely wrecked and damaged by, forklifts or horses kicking it or whatever, I'd expect them to last, 10 years at least. So for every tub that goes out, it's saving 20 plastic bags going to landfill. I didn't design the system to be environmentally friendly. I'll be honest, I didn't. It's just a byproduct of what it is. I designed the system because I felt like there was a need for it. And more importantly, it's a lot less labor intensive for us. It's a lot less labor intensive for the end user. And the next thing in terms of sustainability, we just put a 100 kilowatt solar system on the roof, so that'll offset our consumption from the grid. Again, I didn't do it for sustainability purposes. I purely did it because our electricity bills are quite expensive.
Of course. That's why most people do.
Oh, you know, I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, now we're."
Why do people drive Teslas, you know?
Yeah, but to be fair, I believe, you know, don't quote me on this. I believe the new system will uh, will be powered by solar, something along the lines of, I think it's about 58% of our usage will then come from the sun. Yeah, so it's quite, we've probably got a bigger system than we needed, but
That's amazing.
obviously looking down the track, you've got to look at, you know, potential growth and, you know, increase in production and whatnot. So
It's great planning for the future.
yeah, exactly.
How do you set yourself apart from other, you know, horse feed suppliers? I mean, the competition in Australia can be quite
Well, I mean, as far as I'm aware of, we have got a one-of-a-kind system. We're the first in the world to manufacture and deliver horse feed like we do. To give you, not to go into a lot of details, but basically we try to manufacture and deliver within 24 hours. Where we're hitting targets of about 16 hours at the moment. Yeah, I don't think anyone else in Australia can compete with that.
fair enough. That's a pretty good system to have.
Yeah, and not only that, you know, we have an absolute state of the art, like a world-class facility here. It can dose out the ingredients down to the gram. It's about as good as it gets, in my opinion.
Wow, excellent. What excites you the most, Michael, you know, in terms of innovation and changes in that horse feed industry? And how do you think Kensington Produce is preparing for that?
Good question. What excites me the most? Looking forward, we've got some pretty big plans.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to keep everything to myself. I don't like to tell too many things
Fair enough. I mean,
ideally, you know, the long-term goal is just to be you know, a very profitable, well-organized business that looks after his employees, and obviously does the best job by our customers.
fair enough. Anything you could share with us that, I don't know, any
Top secret? No.
yeah.
Look, I'll give you a little bit of an insight. Like, ideally, the long-term goal is to be a company that is vertically integrated as much as possible. You know, there's synergies in cost savings. There's, you know, wins in terms of consistency, supply. So that's where I'm sort of heading.
Fair enough. I understand. Can you share your thoughts about the future of the horse feed industry in Australia? How do you see it evolving? And, you know, how does Kensington Produce will contribute to that?
Thoughts on the horse feed industry. I feel like if people don't pull their socks up, they're going to get left behind, because as far as I'm concerned, we are lengths in front in terms of what we do. I think it will change how things are sold. I think we've sort of rattled a few cages recently, you know, not on purpose, but I think a lot of companies will try to replicate what we're doing. But unless you have the experience and the network that we have, and like I said at the start, this is going on 70 years next year. The customer base, whether you're willing to dedicate your life to this industry, I believe we'll be lengths and miles in front, and we're only going to get better as a company. Like, I'm not saying we're anywhere near where we need to be, but that's how I feel. How is Kensington Produce going to contribute? I can't give you too many secrets. I can't give too many things away, but we do have bigger plans to contribute, and I think you might find out, and
Fairly soon.
yeah, the next little while. Yeah.
Okay, no worries. Do you think the young generation is still very interested in that industry? Horse feed, horse racing, like.
The younger generation, oh, definitely, for sure.
Oh, okay, great. Good to hear.
I think there's never been a better place to race horses in Australia or in the world, as well, because the prize money is so good. I think it's very hard for young people to get involved because of the operational costs, the overheads, and also it's very hard to compete against the big guys because they can afford to have a team of sports scientists. They can afford to have their own independent nutritionists.
For sure. I guess they can afford to lose as well. They don't.
Yeah, and they can afford to ride the waves that are horse racing. You're always going to have your ups and downs. I just know that if you're dealing with us, you've got a very, very good chance of succeeding.
Well, that's a great way to end. Perfect. Thank you very much for that. That was great. That was very good.
Amazing. Thank you.